This is Taylor, frequent guest of the Critical Breakdown. Instead of spending money on your Valentine this year, give them the gift of a podcast review. Head to iTunes or any podcatcher to review the Critical Breakdown, because we always put out a new episode each week.
Hello and welcome to the Critical Breakdown, the podcast where we start at the bottom of Rotten Tomatoes and we work our way to 100% fresh. I'm Max.
And I'm Scott. And today we're talking 40-Year-Old Virgin, rated 85% Rotten Tomatoes.
Directed by Judd Apatow.
Written by Judd Apatow.
With Steve Carell, I believe.
I always wonder, though, because I don't think Steve Carell has many other writing credits, does he?
Well, obviously he wrote some comedy bits before because he's worked in sketch comedy and on television.
Yeah, sure.
But I did read that Seth Rogen said in an interview that Steve Carell actually had like a clean version of the script written with all the profanity like removed, just in case the studios had like a freak out over how R this movie was going to be.
Yeah, they wanted to make it PG-13.
Yeah, just in case. He just like proactively did that. So
that's good of him.
Yeah, so I don't know. He's never. I don't know if he's dipped further into that writing pool, but he definitely had some chops in here.
He directed a couple episodes of The Office, I know.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
But I don't know how much of the writing he does there. But
me either. He's a talented dude.
Anyways, yeah, he is, man, and he's really transitioned.
Speaking of The Office, you been watching anything lately?
Yeah, not The Office, but I watched the Lego Batman movie.
You like that one, right?
It's really good, yeah. It's probably the best DC movie since The Dark Knight.
Is it better than the Lego movie?
I liked it better, yeah. They're both very good, and they're different. But this one was really good too.
Yeah, I remember it having a ton of like positive buzz at the time.
Oh yeah.
So
I think a lot of people were shocked that it got snubbed from Best Animated Movie.
Yeah.
But so did the Lego movie. So I think like the Lego movie, I can get why, because there's a live action scene in it.
Yeah.
You know, towards the end with Will Ferrell and everything. This one, there's not a scene like that, but I guess you could argue, since it's Legos, that it's not animation, it's like stop motion.
Yeah.
Almost. I don't know.
I mean, they definitely mix computer animation with,
sure.
They managed to do all of it like in there. The only thing I can think, and it's not really even that fair of an argument, and I'm not agreeing with this, but since it's a movie based off a product, I could see some more pretentious people not wanting to give an award to that because it's like pure advertising. Well done, you know? But at the end of the day, it's like the film industry as a whole is that. So.
Well, and especially animated films. Like, you think they're making a Toy Story 4 because it's really journalist, like creative integrity?
No, it's
money.
Because
they're going to sell toys and stuff. Trolls.
Yeah.
Trolls is based on a toy, actually, too.
Yeah. And
that
that's
was
the thing
nominated.
is, I'm not fully leaning in on that, but I'm saying I could see where for like the Academy Award, someone's trying to argue that, but it's like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Any sequel is that.
But it's like The Boss Baby, I'm pretty sure, got nominated.
Yeah, it did.
And that really sucks when Lego Batman's on the sideline.
Yeah. What did Boss Baby, what kind of ratings did that get?
Bad.
Okay.
It did really well in China, though, remember?
The animation
like at the
might
box
be really
office.
nice, though. I didn't see it. So.
Well, Lego Batman's really good. It's got a good voice cast.
Yeah, I do. I do want to see it. Is it streaming or did you just get it? HBO. Nice. I'll have to check it out.
Oh. And then I watched, I think we've talked about it on the pod, so since we've already talked about it, I won't touch on it too much, but Manhunt Unabomber. Did we talk about it?
I think Jody talked about it on the Mean Girls episode.
Yeah. I watched it all in one weekend. It's really
Can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
Was Unabomber sexy?
It's Paul Bettany.
That's
And Paul Bettany is an attractive guy, but he's also played that like weirdo in Da Vinci Code. Yeah, Silas.
Yeah,
so it's hard to look at him that way.
Did he whip himself at all?
Did he what?
Self-flagellation in this one?
Well, I guess it's not really a spoiler since it's based on the Unabomber and everything. He tries to kill himself in at least one point. So yes, and he cuts himself in one scene. So
there you go.
Yeah, he did.
He's a tortured soul.
Typecast.
Yeah.
But what have you been watching?
Well, my big thing for the next couple of weeks will be the Olympics. Full disclosure, but there's not much to talk there yet. It's just started. Let's just go past that.
Okay.
I checked out a couple Netflix things. I started on the recommendation of former guest Paul for All Seasons, Paul Clay. Altered Carbon.
Oh yeah, that's the new like cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's like futuristic
like
cyberpunk sci-fi. Almost, noir. It's like a sci-fi noir. It's pretty good so far. I only got one episode in. It's fun if you like that kind of setting. There'll be something for you. Joel Kinnaman plays kind of a like blank slate type character so far, where he's thrown into this world, so you're kind of like riding through his experience. And
isn't he kind of literally a blank slate? Because one of the things here is like you can enter bodies or something. Your consciousness can be transferred.
They do a good job explaining how it works in there, and it's actually not too. I thought it would be a little like ham-fisted how they explain it, but they managed to work it in plot devices that explain it really well. So far, like it's intriguing enough where I'll check out a couple more episodes.
Right on,
the ratings have been kind of mixed on it, where some people tend to love it and just really lean on the fun of it, and then some people are like, it's not that great, but it
doesn't look that fun. It looks like it's like a dark and gritty.
Yeah.
So that's interesting
that kind of stuff can be fun for some people, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, like the whole cyberpunk thing. So,
when you said fun, I thought you meant like a kind of like the murder of the week, like fun kind of show, you know, like, oh, it's this guest. Like that's kind of fun, but
I mean, I guess, just more if you're
into that genre.
Yeah, then it'll be fun.
And cyberpunk is often like a love it or hate it kind of thing. Some people get really into it.
Yeah.
Some people just can't get on board. That's how Blade Runner never really got the widespread success.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, and it is kind of usually a grim setting overall.
Yeah.
And speaking of grim, I also watched the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah, I watched that one too.
Yeah. I liked moments in it. I liked the cast, but it just did not come together for me.
I don't really have many thoughts. Yeah. It wasn't very good. The marketing and stuff was perfect for a shitty movie because they're going to get a ton of viewers, people watching it. So
yeah,
I was reading an estimate that more people saw the Cloverfield Paradox the day after the Super Bowl than saw The Last Jedi in opening weekend.
That's crazy.
And that's insane.
Yeah.
And it's all because of that marketing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And for a movie that's otherwise pretty crappy, like that's pretty damn good.
It sucks because I'm like, I just feel if they had really pushed a good movie that way, that would be an amazing milestone. But for a movie that was basically dumped, when you like look at the history of it, like, it was leading towards theatrical, and then people just lost it. It lost its steam. No one heard about it for like a year, and then boom, hey, it's coming out.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if it was something like really cool, because then then it could be like, oh yeah, numbers better than The Last Jedi, and this like little indie film that could or something. Yeah. It's not that.
No.
And when you watch it, you can tell it's not that. There's cool moments, there's cool ideas. It just never comes together.
It had like a $45 million budget, and I'm sure most of that was not effects, because the effects were pretty bad.
Didn't Netflix get it for about $50 million?
Netflix bought it for 50. So Universal made like $5 million on making it.
Yeah.
And then I have no idea how Netflix is really tracking. Yeah. But this one is a huge success, whatever way you cut it.
Yeah. So
other than critically.
Yeah.
The writing was awful. I hated the dialogue.
I put my full review on the website, thecriticalbreakdown.com. So if you guys want to see it, just check it out there.
It's a good review. I read it.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. But and I just kind of felt like had it been its own film, it might have been stronger. But the ties to the whole Cloverfield universe didn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I do like the cast a lot, and I wish they had a better movie to be in.
Yeah, the only people in the cast that really had much to do were like Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who was fine.
Yeah.
Daniel Bruhl, who was fine, but he plays the role he always does, like the probably evil German.
And it looked like they were trying to do something new with that, where the two universe versions of him, but they never get there.
No, they don't.
Elizabeth Debicki was fine.
I didn't understand her character.
She didn't get to do enough. Yeah, but she's a good performer.
I thought Chris O'Dowd was really annoying.
He made me laugh a lot. I thought it was funny, which was almost like refreshing in this film that was dumb.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was enough payoff with him.
I could tell that he was supposed to be the funny, but I just didn't laugh.
Yeah,
much.
No, I get that. I liked when he's talking to his arm. That might not be his arm. Might be someone else. His other arm. I don't really know.
I don't know. I think a lot of that
yeah.
was like lost. And
just his line was like,
in the other dimension.
What are you trying to say, arm? It was something like that. And that made me laugh. But it was just like, why is this happening?
Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
You never explain it.
And then there's the like vignettes down to Earth.
Yeah.
And every time they did one of those, it just sucks the momentum out.
Yeah.
Because it's uninteresting and it barely ties at most.
And I say, in my review, I said this, I'm like, it kills all the tension because the whole main plot is they think Earth has vanished for about 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
They don't realize they vanished. You realize that's incorrect as soon as they show the Earth. Like, you know what's going on immediately.
Yeah.
that's dumb. Come on, guys. Like, if you're trying to build tension, don't do that. So.
And I thought maybe the disappearance of the space station was causing the chaos on Earth or something. Maybe they were going to tie that, but they never do.
Yeah, and the only time they tie it is before it ever happens with Donald Logue.
Yeah, and even that, like, I love Donald Logue. Yeah. But, like, his whole thing was just pure exposition, and it was wasted.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys check it out.
It's a fun experiment.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. The marketing's literally the best part of the movie.
And it was literally just a 30-second ad. Yeah. And that was it. So that's a cheap marketing campaign, and it fucking worked.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes these weird victories, you got to take them. But
Victory?
Cloverfield Paradox, take your victory, and we'll just keep on criticizing you. So or forget about
even
you.
Bright was like streamed like mad. Yeah. That's like the first, I guess, tentpole that Netflix did all on their own. They've done other pretty good films.
Yeah.
But
I wish I liked Bright more, but I just didn't.
I still haven't bothered to watch it.
Yeah.
I might.
If it starts auto-playing and you're just too sleepy to get the remote, there you go.
I always wake up when it's going to autoplay. Like Manhunt Unabomber ended, and then it was about to start autoplaying Altered Carbon. I was like, nah, I'm not watching this.
Yeah, nah, fam.
But I was just like jolted awake.
Yeah. It's kind of intrusive sometimes, Netflix.
It is. Yeah. Like, get out of here,
I didn't say to watch that. So.
Yeah. But anything else?
I'm still working on Legion. It's still weird as hell.
Yeah, I still haven't decided to go back.
I'll say there's this amazing moment in like the 6th episode maybe where Aubrey Plaza's character is doing something weird, and then it turns into like a 90-second dance sequence with her as her character.
Okay.
With different scenes where her character just parades through like every other scene in the entire series.
That sounds like the OA.
It's like that, but weirder.
I haven't even seen the OA, so.
So it's not like that really, but no, it's just a strange moment. And while I was watching that, my wife Jody, she was just like, I don't even know what's going on in this show, and I just started laughing because I know what's going on, but it's very understandable why somebody wouldn't.
Yeah,
if you're not paying attention, totally. Like, I have to go back and rewind things sometimes to fully get it.
And no offense to Jody, but I feel like this isn't in her wheelhouse, and she's probably not paying close attention.
There's creepy stuff, so she could, but she just never started paying attention, so it's too late to jump in now. And there's no way I can explain it 6 episodes in.
Isn't the second season starting sometime soon?
I think April, maybe?
Yeah,
April or May.
That sounds right. So. I was thinking April, but I didn't know.
So I'm excited they got a second season, because it's such a weird show that I didn't think it would.
It's Noah Hawley, though, and he's like... the FX darling right now.
He's earned
Fargo
his chops
and everything
with them.
So they're gonna greenlight stuff so they can keep him.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll get any more seasons out of this show, or if it'll just be like a short-term 2-season kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's tough to tell.
Yeah. I should finish it off soon.
Sure.
The Olympics are gonna push me back on that, but after that, I should.
You can do it.
I might. We'll see. That's my big goal. I might watch Legion during the Olympics.
That's your big goal.
That's my big.
We'll check in with Max in March.
Anything else on your plate?
Not really. I really want to watch season 3 of Better Call Saul, but they always put it up on streaming like right before the next season starts. And so I think there's another like 8 months. Yeah. And so I'm trying to decide if I want to buy it or not. I love it, so I probably will.
Yeah.
And like right now I'm craving it, but I'd like to think I can hold out. There's plenty to watch.
I got into a random discussion with a friend the other day about how like you used to have to buy DVDs of shows.
Yeah.
And how I forgot that completely, because he mentioned that I think he bought his wife seasons of One Tree Hill at one point. And I was like, it's funny, I used to buy Jody before we were married, I would buy her Smallville on DVD.
Yeah.
And I think Buffy as well, but mostly Smallville.
What about Angel?
I don't remember if I ever bought that one. But it was those type of shows always. And so I thought it was funny that he brought up a CW show as well. I was like, that's just what you would buy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I don't have to do that. I could just buy them digitally instead.
Yeah. There is some, I mean, as a person who collects Blu-rays, there's something about having a physical copy of something that's nice. Yeah. But TV shows are weird too, because like a movie has a box, and it's there. Yeah. A TV show is probably going to have like 9 boxes.
Yeah.
So you got to do something cool with it. Like Stranger Things, their DVD case looks like an old VHS.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That gets you to buy it, but it's tough. I remember Netflix discs, getting those and watching... Lost with those, and you can only get one disc, which would have like 3 episodes
if you're on that plan.
One disc at a time.
We all were. Let's be real.
Everybody was.
Nobody had that 6-disc plan.
No, and it was frustrating.
Yeah,
you watch them all in one day, and then there's like 4 days between.
That's how I watched Fringe, I believe. So I never finished the series, and I really wanted to, but it would just take me like.
It's on something.
Is it? I've been looking for it streaming.
I want to say it's on.
Do a double look and let me know.
What's wrong with guess? Hulu.
Yeah.
Maybe an Eddie.
We'll follow up on that.
Maybe an Eddie pot.
We'll follow up on that. But one thing also with DVDs, and this kind of calmed down with Blu-rays, was the DVD was a whole experience. You got a cool box. Sometimes the box had a sleeve.
Often.
Yeah, so it was like double protection.
As a collector, sleeves are still there.
Some Blu-rays do have them, some don't, but some do.
I toss the sleeve. I don't fucking care about
So he's not a sleeve boy. I used to break the tabs off of things because I hated the snap tabs.
It's about 50-50 if snappers are there.
The
nice thing now with the snap tabs is you can either use them or you can push them in further, and they're not in use, and the box still closes. So it's like you get that option. You don't have to tear anymore.
That's good. Yeah. And with DVDs and Blu-rays too, but mostly DVDs, I've noticed it's calmed a lot on the Blu-ray side. The menus of a DVD were like a full-on experience.
Yeah, there'd be a transition. Sometimes you'd click the button and there'd be an animation.
Yeah, a clip. Yeah, a line.
Oh yeah.
And one of my favorite DVDs of all time for the menu system alone was the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh.
If I still had the DVD, unfortunately it got messed up in a move or something, but we have the Blu-ray.
Did the Blu-ray have it?
It wasn't the same menu system. It had most of the same features and maybe even a couple more, which was nice, but the extended cut DVD had a very slick menu system that you'd press a button, a line would show up, a small clip would show up, like things would happen. The Zoolander DVD I think was just as good, but
that's the same era.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was just like you wanted a whole presentation there.
But I also appreciate this is actually perfect because we've talked about this off air, but the trailers before the movie are key. Some people probably skip through them. I love it.
It sets the tone of the year.
Yeah, so you watch a 40-Year-Old Virgin and you're getting trailers for Knocked Up. Yeah. And you're getting a trailer for
2005
National
stuff.
Treasure. Yeah. You're getting trailers for
like
around
an Anchorman trailer or something, just something in there, you know?
Yeah. Here's a beef. It's called BD Live.
Hate it.
It's Blu-rays connecting to the internet, if your machine is connected to the internet, to find new trailers to watch. And I hate that.
But you know what my problem with that is mostly?
Usually it's like a 6-month-old trailer still.
Yeah, it's never like like right now
like
Black Panther's about to come out. Black Panther wouldn't show up. No. Exactly. The Mummy would show up.
Like the Mummy and then the remake of Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. And they still have shitty DVD music playing. And you know what I mean? Like the weird Euro dance music.
Yeah.
That's playing.
For sure.
And I'm like,
and sometimes Blu-ray font, which is not good.
No.
But I hate BD Live, man.
Yeah, it's not good.
Judge Dredd had trailers from like 92 or whatever.
Yeah,
was great.
It was weird. It didn't make sense because that DVD technology wasn't around then.
Yeah.
So like when they made the DVD, they just pulled everything off the VHS and threw it on there.
Yeah, it was great.
It's great.
And I think special features are starting to go to the wayside a bit. Some Blu-rays don't even have them at all. Sometimes it's just the theatrical trailer, maybe a commentary. But I think because of the rise of digital, you don't see it as much. Because digital, you don't even get the option.
And I think some digital services do give the option and some don't.
Like on Amazon, can you?
I feel like iTunes might do features.
Yeah.
I know.
Then I have to.
I know the
iTunes.
Disney one did. Because that's where I had a digital copy of The Force Awakens, and it had all these special features. Because the disc didn't have it.
Yeah.
But it was all digital. I was like, I don't want to load up my computer or log into something and watch my special features there.
Is it Filmstruck is the one with all the Criterion collection and everything?
I think so.
I bet you that one does because Criterion does really good special features on their stuff. But.
It's I do like special features, and once again, the 40-Year-Old Virgin had a really good set of special features.
Yeah, good like alternate lines and stuff.
Yeah.
A good DVD you rent from Blockbuster. You rent the 40-Year-Old Virgin DVD. You watch it, hilarious. Then you watch all those alternate scenes and stuff, hilarious. Maybe you want to keep getting that experience. Maybe you want to get the most of your $4 rental. You watch with Judd Apatow's commentary on.
Yeah.
It's nice. You got options.
Yeah.
Remember way back in the day, this is a huge digression, and this would be a natural point to start talking about the movie, but I don't care. I remember Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
The DVD had like quizzes and stuff on it. Do you remember when that was a thing?
Yeah. Like the interactive games and stuff. That was like first tier DVD.
It had to be pre-mobile phone.
Yeah.
I feel like the Pirates of the Caribbean one probably had that.
Oh, yeah. I think Harry Potter had it too. Like the first two movies at least.
We should do a YouTube series of us playing those.
God, that'd be amazing. Half of them probably don't even work now.
We need to find like an old school DVD player.
Yeah.
But
there's something there.
Yeah. But anyways, back to our natural transition to the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Let's talk it.
What's the plot synopsis for 40 YOV?
Guided by his buddies, a nerdy guy who's never done the deed only finds the pressure mounting when he meets a single mother.
It is kind of a weird synopsis, but we were talking right before.
Yeah.
Because the done the deed in quotes is like really weird, but you can't. There's not a better way to put it.
Yeah, I didn't write this one. We just pulled it from IMDb this time. Yeah, I mean, the only differentiation I would make on that is like he's trying to learn how to not be a virgin. Yeah. Not just by having sex, but learning the whole like courting process. Yeah. I feel like that's key to this movie because it's the plot.
Yeah, it's the whole plot.
So while those are big key moments, you know, it's a lot of that is him learning. For sure. And he's been too scared to learn for a while. So I really like this movie. It's definitely my favorite Apatow. But
so what are Knocked Up? You did Funny People, I remember,
and some of them I'm behind on. I haven't seen This Is 40 or Funny People.
I haven't seen This Is 40 either.
I've heard good stuff about both. Yeah. But
what's Judd Apatow's like last movie that he did? Oh, did he did Trainwreck, didn't he?
Maybe. I know he does Love, right, with Paul Rudd.
He at least produces it.
Yeah, and he did at least one episode of Love.
And he did direct Trainwreck, which I thought was very funny.
I haven't seen that one either.
I'm not the biggest Amy Schumer fan, but it was actually very funny.
I was a huge fan of Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
Love Freaks and Geeks.
I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah. It's a good watch. It's only one season, so if you ever check it out, it's good. Yeah. And I mean, I do like Knocked Up, but one thing I kind of noticed. It's funny because there's a whole bunch of debates around this. Judd Apatow's movies, at least like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, had this weird, like, kind of not regressive feeling to him, but it was funny because it was just like, I think he always positions himself as a very progressive person.
Yeah.
But then, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these concepts at all, but the concepts behind 40-Year-Old Virgin's like, you know, saving yourself for the right person, which is just a very like old school thought, which is cool. It's fine. No problem with that. And then, you know, Knocked Up is all about like, you know, deciding not to have an abortion and go through with a pregnancy. And so I remember there's a lot of discussion about that. Like, is he secretly pushing these concepts or is he just explaining them through storytelling?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's at least an interesting subject matter to take on, even if you in your head don't feel the same way. Looking at it through like a comedic lens, I think is pretty fun. So
yeah, and it can kind of elevate, and otherwise like the virginity quest can be like what is it, 40 Days and 40 Nights? That one's always on Comedy Central. That's about like saving yourself to have sex in 40 days. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of similar to this, but it's executed totally differently. It's a little more highbrow. I guess.
This is
not highbrow by any means. But
it's like it's like the bones of a highbrow, heartfelt comedy wrapped in the flesh of a gross out comedy.
Yeah.
So it's a cool mix with that. I mean, there is a good dramatic like
element to
it with a good heartfelt like character driven story.
I mean, it's a rom-com.
For sure.
And so the rom is certainly there.
Oh yeah. And that's what I like. I like that there's a feeling of authenticity to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too much on the gross out side. It's just kind of
there's a lot of different types of humor in it, which I liked.
Yeah.
There is that gross out humor. There's like physical comedy, like with the waxing scene and everything.
You had a big chuckle at the bike scene where he hits a pothole and flies off for no reason other than his life's going pretty good, and he hits a pothole and just like gets tossed.
The timing in a comedy is important, and I think Judd Apatow generally nails that.
Apatow and Steve Carell knows how to physically do a bit like that.
And so a lot of times it's just like playing with your expectations. So it's like things are going well, and sometimes it'll be a scene transition, a couple seconds riding the bike, then he hits the pothole.
Yeah.
I feel like here it was like cut pothole right away, and it was just like it catches you off guard. But no, it's good.
Yeah.
Good. And there's a lot of good lines.
Yeah. It's a very quotable movie.
Yeah.
I think I drove you crazy with like 18 quotes that you just didn't even know because you hadn't seen the film.
I heard Bag of Sand like 5 times right before, and I was like, okay. And I don't even think it's that memorable of a quote.
No, and to be fair, I think I didn't even quote that one. I think other people did when we brought it up.
Other people at work did.
Yeah, but no, I remember seeing this in theaters probably opening week. I was that year I think I saw everything in theaters that I could.
Did you see Red Eye?
No, I had the chance to though, but I had to work that night. I was trying to.
It opened the same. Same time.
I remember I saw this one. My brother was in town. I think I was working at Pizza Hut at the time. I want to say Jody and Julia and Kara and everyone worked at the movie theater. So they all would go see movies all the time and I'd go for free. and I like had to choose which one I wanted to see. So they all went and saw Red Eye like a different night, and we saw 40-Year-Old Virgin that same weekend.
I never saw Red.
So.
Did it get good reviews? I don't remember. I remember it. For some reason, I remember being very buzzy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone I knew was talking about it.
Scarecrow, right?
Yeah, Cillian
Murphy and Jodie Foster, I think.
I thought maybe she directed it. Did she direct it?
Oh, I don't know.
I think Rachel McAdams is in it.
Okay, I don't remember.
Let's go with that.
I still haven't seen it. So.
Yeah.
But that was the opening weekend, August 19th of 2005.
Did it? Which one won?
40-Year-Old Virgin. Nice. 21.4 million.
Yeah.
What's fun too is you could have done a nice comedy doubleheader because it was week 6 of Wedding Crashers.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So you could have hit one and then hit the other.
What was the budget on 40-Year-Old Virgin?
26 million.
And how'd it do overall?
Domestically, 109.4 million. So
that's a run right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it makes sense when you go back and visit this movie because like it is full of people now who are almost household names. I mean,
just in your main cast, you have Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen. They're all A-list leading actors now.
And those three had at least established a working career.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they were household names. Maybe like Paul Rudd was probably the most known out of the three of them, with Steve right there with him, just depending on where you're coming from.
Steve Carell's experience for the most part here was like The Daily Show.
Yeah, The Daily Show and
the first Anchorman had come out already, right?
I don't remember. I think it was right after this, but I don't remember honestly.
Bruce Almighty. Remember he was in that.
He was I think he had done Second City, so comedy people would know him, and then he was in he might have been in the Dana Carvey Show. Because I think him and Colbert were in that.
Well, I don't acknowledge the Dana Carvey Show.
It's famous for comedians, though. I will say that. Wow. But or maybe it was that might have been that one. We're getting lost in the weeds there. Yeah. Basically, they all had good working resumes. Seth Rogen had been in Freaks and Geeks. He had been in the other Apatow show, Undeclared, and a couple other things. So they all had a good working record.
Elizabeth Banks,
Romany Malco, who plays Jay. I want to say. He also kind of had been in small indie features. I think Weeds started after this. I don't remember, but he was one of the main characters in the first 2 seasons of Weeds. Yeah,
I would say his arc of those main guys there, like career-wise, it hasn't launched. Like the other three are A-list stars now.
He was in an Amazon show.
Okay.
And I did tell you I'd tell you a story on the podcast about him.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember it completely.
Okay. The mic is yours.
You got very serious and said, save that for the podcast. Which, when they showed him on the screen, I said, hey, Scott, my dad got into a Facebook fight with that guy.
Yeah.
Long story short, I guess he was filming an Amazon show in Puerto Rico, and they looked like non-Puerto Rican girls grabbed his cell phone, took a selfie, posted it on his Facebook saying, the 3 most beautiful women in Puerto Rico, to which my dad got offended and said, there are so many beautiful Puerto Ricans, how can these be the 3 most beautiful? Meaning they didn't look Puerto Rican. And then all these people started fighting with him, and I think Romany Malco came out and was just like, hey man, we're not trying to have arguments like, some girls took my phone, we're just having fun. No big deal.
I'm just glad that your dad was following Romany Malco.
I don't even know how it happened. So, yeah, it's confusing to me. I don't know if he was just looking up Puerto Rico on Facebook and came across that, or if he followed him. Yeah. But then my dad was, very angry, like, I'm a veteran, don't disrespect me. And then Romany Malco's actually a veteran, too. So he was like, hey, brother, I'm a veteran, too. And I think he has some Afro-Caribbean heritage in him as well. So they came to a good, peaceful spot there. But I kept seeing in my feed this actor who I love in this movie, like, popping up, fighting with my dad. And I was like, that is just strange.
I think your dad was fighting with him.
I agree.
Just in fairness,
I agree. Romany, you're welcome on the show anytime. We can have you and my dad both on here, make up.
We can make peace.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
But no, there's plenty of other stars in here as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of little roles. Like we mentioned The Office once already on the episode briefly, but in addition to Steve Carell, you have Mindy Kaling in the background of
cinematic debut, I believe.
Yeah. In the background of one scene, Jenna Fisher, you pointed out. Yeah. She's just like a club patron.
Yeah. No lines.
Nancy Carell, excuse me. Steve Carell's wife, who plays Carol on the show, his realtor. And then David
Koechner.
I think it's Koechner. Who plays the traveling salesman.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Todd Packer.
Todd Packer.
Yep. And so he's sort of a regular. Like one episode a season, but
yeah,
very funny actor. And so they're all in it. That's a $5 for The Office.
I think my favorite,
it's a $5 footlong.
My favorite small role was probably Jonah Hill.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill's very funny.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart has one scene in here.
Very funny scene.
Yep. Cedric Yarbrough, who's from Reno 911, he's in one scene.
Which scene is he in?
The scene with the sex counselor.
Oh yeah. That's a very funny scene.
That's
as
a very
well,
funny
so,
scene. And then another cameo, Stormy Daniels.
Yes, in some pornographic moments on the camera.
Yeah.
I'm honestly not sure which she was because there's a couple different ones. But y'all might know her from current political news. We won't go into it, but it's relevant.
There it is.
So
hashtag Stormy Daniels.
Have to mention these cameos. But yeah, so there's there's a lot of sex jokes.
A lot of talent in the movie, though.
A lot of talent.
And
so
a lot of sex jokes.
You have a good mixture of stuff. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your main cast, besides who we mentioned, includes also Catherine Keener.
Yeah.
I think
Jane Lynch is another one.
Jane Lynch.
This is pretty early in her career, I think, or she really took off with Glee. That's where she hit like the mainstream. She's playing basically the same character here.
Kind of, yeah.
And
I think
actually,
a straight version of that character here.
Yeah, a little bit straighter. I watched Role Models this morning, just threw it on.
Yeah.
And she's in it, and it also is before Glee, and she's playing that same kind of like zany, like hard ass kind of.
Yeah, like offbeat hard ass kind of character.
Yeah, exactly. And she's good at it.
You have a very young Kat Dennings in here.
Oh yeah.
In a funny role. It's like perfectly built for her type of comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
sassy, sarcastic.
Yeah.
But also like
she's not given a ton to do here.
No. I mean, she's playing a kid of somebody, but it matches well with her strengths.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think who else.
That's
the most of them. We mentioned Elizabeth Banks, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So she's really funny in this too.
The only other one we maybe didn't mention is Leslie Mann, Judd Apatow's wife.
Yeah, who's also very funny in this movie.
Yeah. I actually disagree. Her scene literally made me gag and
that's because it's a vomit scene.
Yeah. I never find that funny.
Yeah. The vomit part isn't that funny to me.
Everything else, like the whole scene would have been fine if they didn't do that.
Yeah. The rest of the lines are really funny to me. So I get where you're coming from because you don't like that. But
it soured me for like 5 minutes. I couldn't look at the screen.
Yeah.
Like I was literally gagging. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
I can never do it. So
that's fair.
So
regardless, I feel like if you take out that vomit moment, her lines were funny is all I was saying.
Yeah. But the vomit is just like, it's cheap and it's not like a great gag. I don't even think like her being totally drunk and crashing the car, like the vomit didn't really add a lot to it.
Well, that's the gross out comedy. I mean, some of the gross out stuff doesn't work for everybody. Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of like other gross out comedies. I mean, American Pie, they have like a pie fucking scene, shit like that. Yeah. It's just like some of that just doesn't work for people. And that's why when we discuss comedies, we say there's good to have a good balance. Yeah. So some of your stuff's going to fall flat. Like for some people, puns just never work and they just groan at them, and other people love puns. Yeah. Vomit's the same way. It's just more visceral.
Who loves vomit?
Some people like body gross out kind of stuff.
True.
So I'm not saying anyone loves it. Like for me, it's neutral. It doesn't make me laugh by itself, and it doesn't make me cringe. But a well-played, well-timed one can get me. Like when they do the kiss, when she kisses him and he's like, "Oh, did you have shellfish?" Something like that. Like that. If they just stayed there, I think would have been gross enough. But you could have handled it because you were already gagging by that point.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a funny line afterwards.
I was really fighting to not throw up on your couch.
Yeah, like, that would have been gross.
Yeah, so, and I was close.
And I appreciate that you didn't.
I try. Since it's a comedy, we should talk about The Hangover, since that's what we always do.
Yeah.
I feel like The Hangover, which is a very funny movie, but there's like one brand of comedy in it. It's all lines. It's all this written, people standing around and talking comedy.
It's heavily situational, where like they get into a wacky situation. What happens next? It's like that with one-liners and burns kind of built into it. And it works. It works in its own context.
This has a lot of that. Like, okay, what's the situation? We're going to have Steve Carell get waxed.
Yeah.
What's the situation? He's going to take Leslie Mann. Like, different situations like that, but they at least mix it up with the types of humor and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a definite,
not people just standing there and talking.
Like we said, there's a character progression path for him that I think works with it really well.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think the biggest change in The Hangover is Like they learn to be nicer to Zach Galifianakis' character.
Yeah.
Remotely, like
they just become better friends. Basically,
become better friends, and then
Bradley Cooper's not an asshole.
Exactly. Yeah, he becomes nicer, and then
Ed Helm grows a pair.
He grows a pair.
You know, it's kind of like a demented Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So there is character progression there, but it's not as rich as this one.
It's not very satisfying.
No. You know? This one is, a guy learning to, experience a part of life he hasn't experienced, and the path he takes to get there, and all the stuff, and it's how he actually changes his friends at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also, it's okay to be who you are.
Exactly.
Towards the end of the movie, Catherine Keener's packing up all his toys and stuff to sell, and he just realizes he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
if you take it out of the package, you ruin it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's there's some good stuff in here.
For sure. It's a very funny movie.
Yeah, we picked it. One of the main reasons was
it's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day, so rom-com. Happy Valentine's Day, Scott.
Everybody should listen to this as they're doing it. Valentine's Day night.
As they do the deed.
Here it is, everybody. Nice. That's all you need to hear.
Like I said, it's one of my favorite comedy movies out there. So,
I hadn't seen it,
so I had to go to bat for it, and you hadn't seen it. And I felt like even if you didn't love it, you would like it.
I like it.
Yeah. So, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, I felt pretty good going into this one that you'd get something out of it. So
you're right.
Yeah.
My favorite line is towards the end of the movie when Andy's like angrily riding his bike and he crashes through one of those like driving billboards.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe those are still a thing. You still see them.
Yeah.
I saw one the other day for Publix.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But
But then I went and shopped at Publix.
It worked.
He crashes his bike through it, and as he's laying on the ground, and Catherine Keener runs up to him, and is like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm a virgin. Always have been." Or like, "I have been my whole life."
Yeah, I'm a virgin. I always have been.
It's just
so
a really
good.
funny line.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of good little one-liners. There's a lot of good situationals, like we said.
You can tell they gave the actors a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Like there's that one scene with Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen where they're just going back and forth, like,
Yeah.
you know how I know you're gay, and then they say something, and apparently none of that was written.
Yeah.
And there's like in the extras, there's like minutes of extra that they had there.
And I heavily quote that, not the whole gay part, but I'll do the second part. Like they say, you know how I know you're gay because you macrameed yourself a pair of jean shorts because you made like a spinach dip in a bread bowl, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, these gay jokes have not aged as well.
Yeah.
But the ones they put in the movie are actually pretty funny and really not related to being gay beyond being like, because you have sex with men. They'll say stuff like that. But it's like, it's a dumb joke playing off another dumb joke in the story. I was glad the humor in it landed better than I thought it would because some of those kind of jokes were like, okay. Like I think when we watched Good Luck Chuck or something, there were some gay jokes in there where we're like, wow, beyond all the weird rapey jokes in here, like that is just not cool.
To compare this to Good Luck Chuck is just a very strange thing to do.
It's
like comparing my basketball to LeBron James's basketball.
Exactly.
Like sure, it's both a person playing basketball.
Yeah, it's a game, but is it?
Oh. You went too far, man.
Wow, dude. Wow. No, I like when you do watch the bonus scenes, the different like lines and stuff. There's this whole portion where Paul Rudd's making fun of Matt Damon and the scenes they're watching from Bourne Identity, and everything he says is so damn funny. Just everything. He's just like, I always thought Matt Damon was kind of a cake eater. I always thought Matt Damon was a pillow biter. Every time he said something different, and they put a whole compilation of it, and it's just funny, man.
It's a lot of fun to watch for sure.
And so the whole movie's kind of like that, where each character gets their lines. I think the only character that didn't go through like massive character growth in quotations would probably be Seth Rogen's character. As far as like the
he didn't have
ones.
many traits.
Yeah, he was just kind of
there for
exactly. I think for him it was the closest thing you can get is he seems like, since it's Seth Rogen playing like a guy with tattoos who obviously does drugs, that he'd be more of a selfish guy. But in the long run, he is trying to help people.
Yeah,
they don't ever play on that. I'm just saying they could have taken that. Growth. Exactly. But he doesn't need it. He's just a side character.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd goes through this whole journey of being obsessed with the girl, deciding to be celibate, and then jumping back in the dating pool. Romani Malco's Jay character starts off as a huge asshole. Womanizer, cheating on his girlfriend. She dumps him, but he finds out she's pregnant. They get back together, and he dedicates his life to that.
Yeah. And they're having a kid.
And they're having a kid,
one very funny scene. The funniest scene with Romani Malco, in my opinion, because his character... Like, he's grouped with Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen's characters, but his is kind of its own brand of humor almost.
Yeah.
The funniest scene was after they did a speed dating thing, and his wife comes in and is all mad and Romani Malco's Jay is just like, oh yeah, those are the notes Andy took, and she's reading them off, and they're very funny.
Yeah.
It's like, so she's got an ass that don't quit, and then Steve Carell would be like, oh yeah, I said that.
Yeah. You know what
and they
I'm
list
saying?
them off. Yeah.
No, that's a good scene.
It's a very funny scene.
Yeah, God. They each kind of get their moments like that. So Paul Rudd has a lot with the creepy stuff in the beginning that's super funny. He says things like love's a delicate fig. They're talking dirty stories, and he talks about how they made love and it felt like they were going to the stars. When he finally sees Amy again, he's like, let's go to the Eiffel Tower. But then also every time he talks about her, I want to
have sex with you under the Eiffel Tower.
Every time he talks about her, also he like insults her at the end of it and says stuff like, you get sick, you lose weight, but that's love. So they have good runs with his character.
At the start, they make you think it was like a multi-year relationship when it was only a couple months.
And he's been obsessed with her since.
Yeah.
So that's a good like turn of events. And then after that, it still plays to his strengths.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen, while he doesn't get as much to do as the rest, all of his lines are funny.
Oh yeah.
The one that sticks out to me the most is when they see Elizabeth Banks' underwear coming out over her pants.
No.
Steve Carell says, "What's wrong with her underpants?" And his follow-up is, "They're not in my mouth." And just the way Seth Rogen says it is always funny.
And
I always laugh at
together.
that line. Yeah, so there's a good turn there. They each get their moments.
It's tough to break down comedy. Like it's not funny to break.
Like
it
we
down,
said before, we don't want to
jokes.
quote everything, but if
I
you've
did
seen
love,
it, you know these.
I loved the end of the movie has this random dance number. It's so stupid.
You gave me a look at first, like what the fuck, and then you went back, and then you were like, okay, that's funny. So
it was just a very weird scene.
Yeah, it's a very dumb, funny way to end a movie, but. I don't know. It brings you into the fun. It's just like, all these guys had fun working together.
Yeah. Apparently, Jonah Hill got heat stroke during that dance scene.
I bet, man.
Jonah Hill was very big here.
He was a big boy there. So
he was super funny, even in his one scene. Like they're at the eBay store or whatever, and he just says something like, "Congrats on that purchase" or whatever.
Yeah. He's like, I just want to buy these shoes, but you won't let me buy these shoes, and it's like goldfish, like platforms that go thigh high. It's ridiculous. If I have complaints about this movie, it's that the visuals aren't that great.
No, it looked like it was from the late 90s.
It's a very cheap cinematography here.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting with it, which it doesn't need to be. It's a comedy movie. It's character driven. That's fine. But when you go back and see something like Knocked Up, it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot of more modern comedies.
And I bet you Knocked Up had double the budget this one did.
For sure, probably. And it's smart to spend more of your time on getting the talent right.
Yeah.
For the comedy, getting good music in there because it did have some good songs. So like they spent their budget wisely, I think.
For sure.
But at the end, it's like you watch this movie now, it looks older than it is.
Yeah.
Like you said. And that's, when you watched when we put it on, you were like what year was this made?
I mean, it just looks
you knew, but you were just saying like
there's
geez.
Like a moment in like the early to mid 2000s where movies just started looking better. I don't know if it was camera technology or what.
Probably the digital aspect and everything.
This one just didn't look good.
Yeah,
just
I agree.
Straight up.
I agree. And
it wasn't even like the composition of shots. It's just the film quality is not good. So
and it's one of those things where it doesn't hurt the film, but you notice it.
And
you forget about it after a couple minutes, but it does age it. It does look older.
It kind of anchors it to a certain time period.
It has kind of like a flat color palette to it as well, which is fine. But it just visually, I think now we have better looking comedies.
Yeah,
for sure. The mixture of digital, the mixture of, just like smarter cinematographers.
Yeah.
Probably more variety out there too. I mean, you see something like 21 Jump Street and it looks super slick,
Oh, yeah.
That's the idea because it's like a cop comedy.
Yeah.
But it still looks super slick.
And it's like fast paced and
The Hangover looks super slick. So it's like, I mean, when you look at these, like we said, you could tell the budget was a little bit low, but that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it doesn't like hold the film back.
Yeah, just thinking of its contemporaries, when I think of like Anchorman, they definitely had a setting, so that changes how it looks. And then when I think of like Dodgeball, it kind of has a similar color palette, but a little bit richer. But the film stock quality was a little bit nicer too. Like the visuals hold up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the difference maker in this case, at least.
But for me, I would still pick this movie myself over watching either of those other two I just mentioned.
Anchorman or Dodgeball.
Yeah,
I love Anchorman, but it's been a while.
Yeah, for me, out of those three, I definitely prefer this one.
Yeah.
Versus those two, and those two are kind of equal for me. But,
Dodgeball I was never the highest on. Yeah. It's fine, but
I remember liking the lines a lot. Both have great one-liners, so that's pretty much what I remember of both.
Plus, your leading man comparison: Steve Carell versus Will Ferrell versus Vince Vaughn. I even like Vince Vaughn, and he doesn't compare to.
I'll give you that for sure.
And I love Steve Carell. He's turned into a very good dramatic actor.
Yeah.
Like in Foxcatcher and Big Short, and he was
just watched one recently, right?
Last Flag Flying. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So it's nice to see. He looks very young here, and because this is right around the same time The Office started, and it's just really funny to see how far he's come.
Yeah, no, for sure. How'd you feel about we mentioned the romance part? How'd you feel about the romance in this movie?
I wasn't sold by their relationship by any means. Mm-hmm. Some movies do a better job of that than others, but I accept, like, it was fine.
Yeah.
There were funny moments with it, like when after their first date they're trying to have sex, he doesn't know how to use the condom, and then either her daughter's boyfriend or just friend, they like walk in and it ends everything, but he's got like 50 condoms on the floor, and the guy's just like, teach me. That was a very funny moment.
Yeah.
And then, like, I understand that she was like, let's take it slow. And he was like, oh, yeah, 5 dates. And she's like, oh, make it 10. He's like, make it 20.
Yeah.
He's excited because he doesn't have to do that. And that was fine. Like, I was never like, oh, yeah, they're a natural fit and all that. But it's fine. It works.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would be interesting if he lost his virginity to, like, Elizabeth Banks and it just wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then their relationship went on, and like Catherine Keener stuff, like when they were broken up there and then they got back together and everything was fine. It just would have been interesting because this movie still makes it the big deal to lose your virginity, and I always think that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's not weird.
For some people it's a big thing, and for some it's not.
It puts it on a pedestal, which is kind of a it's a weird line from the movie.
Yeah.
But it really still
true.
does put losing your virginity on the and losing your virginity, like, it's probably not going to be good, but it just happens, and then you keep going.
Yeah.
But
and that's they kind of show that in the very end with a little joke.
Yeah, but
I know what you're saying.
It was still like they got married, and
I think the cool thing would have been, I'm not saying they should have had her character do it, but Kat Dennings' character was also a virgin. She was like a teenager in it. And it could have been interesting. It would have derailed the plot too much, but to have like a parallel between that, like where maybe she goes through that experience and she loses it and she's like, that was like stupid. That was nothing. Why did I ever worry about this? Yeah. And then he finally at 40-ish does his, and to him it's like a big special thing because he's waited so long. Yeah. It'd be interesting to show both sides of it.
Yeah, the only weird thing is there's Kat Dennings' character was like 16.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it wouldn't really work, but it would derail a lot. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like,
it just could have been
a good point.
When you just look at the story, it's a pretty standard rom-com.
Oh, yeah.
That could have at least made it a little spicier.
I will say,
a little paprika in there.
Most rom-coms go through that like bullshit fight where if they just communicate, things get better, which is the case here, and that's relationships in general.
Yeah.
But I mean, because every relationship that's gone sour usually is because they didn't communicate in real life. You know, like that happens. But here I think it kind of works because he's literally embarrassed. It's the most embarrassing thing he can think of, you know?
He thinks it makes him less of a man.
Exactly, and it really drives his character, and I think if you're going to do that, that's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah,
where it's like earth-shattering for him.
Yeah.
She doesn't really care when she finds out because she's convinced he's like a psycho killer for the 5 minutes before
he was a murderer.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where for her it's a huge relief.
Yeah.
But for him it's like, it's also a huge relief that she doesn't care, but for him getting that off his shoulders, like flying through a double-sided truck billboard is the only thing that can finally make him admit it. So
what's funny too is Seth Rogen told him earlier to just tell her.
Yeah,
and he still wouldn't. He's like, just tell her.
Yeah. So it's funny because there's a good mixture of like friends giving bad advice and friends giving good advice.
Yeah.
I think Jay starts off with the worst advice.
Yeah.
For him,
like get a prostitute.
Yeah, like knock out hood rats in quotations.
Yeah.
And so all that is like find a drunk girl and take her home, and it's like just showing that Jay's kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
But that his methods work, and he's taking more of that. It doesn't really matter stance.
You just got to get out of the way.
Yeah. I think Seth Rogen's character is the most understanding with it. Like you said, just tell her.
Yeah.
Just talk to her.
It looks like Paul Rudd is going to be the most interesting, but then he turns out to be just kind of a weirdo.
He's such a weirdo that it's funny. But he is good at like diffusing Andy every single time, where he's like, "We're not making fun of you. Like we want to help you." So I think it's a good balance. Like I said, I like that they become friends as they go on. Like towards the end, like Jay's hugging Andy, saying like, "I love you, man. Like you have taught me." And I think that it adds to the movie, I think. So
it sure does.
Yeah.
What else could we watch? I know we mentioned 21 Jump Street a few minutes ago.
We could definitely watch 21 Jump Street.
Which do you prefer, 21 Jump Street or this?
I prefer this one, but that's because I have like a long history of watching it and loving it. So.
I'm still team 21 Jump Street.
That's fair. You've probably seen that one a lot more times than this one.
Maybe
at
once
least,
or twice, yeah.
one more time than this one.
Maybe. Yeah.
But it's been with you longer as a film, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we could have watched Easy A.
Yeah, that would have been very similar to Mean Girls.
Yeah.
So that's probably why we didn't.
I like Easy A.
It's because it's like high school relationship drama and stuff. Yeah, Easy A was good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since I saw it, which was
since it came out, basically.
or something. Yeah.
So,
but I remember Stanley Tucci is in it.
Yeah.
He plays her dad, and he's very funny.
He's very funny. Yeah. Chronicle.
Yeah, I like Chronicle. I've talked about it before.
Yeah. It's Trank.
Trank and Dane DeHaan. All Rickety Cricket himself.
Rickety Cricket. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I still haven't seen it. I'll get around to it. I really do want to watch it because I want to see good Trank.
It's up your alley too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And Michael B. Jordan's in it.
Another one that you've seen.
The sales pitch you need.
Michael B. Jordan. Another one that you've seen that I haven't seen. Hail Caesar.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's got Han Solo in it, correct?
It's got Han Solo. Yeah, Eldon Eichenrock or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's honestly the highlight of it.
That's cool.
He's very funny. But it's funny now. I haven't thought about Hail Caesar in a while, but now I've seen The Big Lebowski and was kind of iffy on it. I was kind of iffy on this one too. Maybe it's because I like Coen Brothers dramas, but their comedies, their out and out comedies, I'm not overly fond
They're
of.
pretty offbeat sometimes.
Yeah. But like Fargo, I love,
Yeah.
and then No Country for Old Men. But this one didn't do too much for me.
Well, let's jump from that Han Solo into Rogue One.
Yeah. This is Rogue One's good.
Yeah, we could have watched that and talked about it.
Yeah,
but
I've never thought about revisiting Rogue One.
I've seen it. I've revisited it maybe once now.
Yeah.
I wish the characters kind of had more development, but
yeah, I remember thinking a lot of the writing was a little weak.
Yeah,
because like I remember at the start with Forrest Whitaker's character, who's not used very well.
Yeah, he just does nothing.
He has that brain vacuum, right?
Workle it.
Yeah,
that whole thing. Yeah.
He's like, if you do this, you're gonna go crazy. You won't even be able to speak again. They did it to the pilot, Riz Ahmed's character, and then within a minute he was fine.
It was fine.
And I remember thinking like, why was this even a thing?
Yeah.
But
yeah, and there's also
because it has no impact on the plot.
The Act 2 to Act 3 dramatic turnaround of like Jen Erso just being like, we need to still go do this, and everyone's like, we're not doing that. And then the guy she just got into an argument with, Hottie, what's his name, Diego Luna's character, Cassian, was like we can't be doing that. And she's like, rebellions are built on hope, and he's like, let's do it, everybody in. And everyone's like, yeah. And it's just like, guys, like, you had a really serious cool movie, and then like this cheesy shit, I don't know, it just bothers me.
No, it was really cheesy. And like with her dad dying right there while she was watching, it was like, this is all too convenient.
The third act is pretty fucking cool.
The whole movie's worth it for the third act. Yeah, because that whole thing's worth it.
It's just the
really
lead in is just it just
especially the Vader hallway scene is just like
that's awesome.
That's so good.
Yeah. And a lot of people argue they want more of that kind of stuff. I'm fine with just that.
Yeah, like the more,
because Vader in the original trilogy
curtain,
is amazing.
Yeah.
Vader in that like 30-second clip is awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have prequel trilogy Vader. I don't want to explore any of that.
The more you peel back the curtain on Vader, the less cool it's gonna be.
Yeah. The more Padme no scenes you get. So
Padme no.
We could have also watched Smashed, which is a movie I mentioned before.
Smashed. It's got your girl, right?
Yeah, it has Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Aaron Paul. I think also Mackenzie Davis is in it.
Oh,
so.
double your girl.
It's a good one. I recommend it.
Who directed it? Was it James Ponsoldt?
I think so. The guy who did
the Spectacular Now?
Yeah, it's that guy. I still recommend it. I think it's good. I think you'll enjoy it.
It's streaming somewhere, isn't it?
It was on either Stars or one of the premium channels.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Stars or Showtime or something like that.
Yeah.
So on Amazon, you could just throw it on there, but what is? It. You could have watched It.
The new one.
The new It.
Yep.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I don't like most horror, but it was a fun experience.
I thought I would be let down with it because I have seen the I've seen the miniseries back in the day
with Tim Curry.
Where it cuts back and forth, past and present. And this one was just set in one timeline, and I thought I would be bored, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super good.
This one owned the cinemas for like a month.
Yeah. One that you saw, Okja.
Yeah, this is one of the Netflix films. It's very good. It's one of their big purchases from like Sundance or Cannes or something. And, I mean, it's just a good movie.
Yeah.
It's like a creature feature, but not in the way most creature features are. It's not like a horror movie.
It's kind of like a lot of vegans had conversations about it because it was very vegan friendly of a movie.
Yeah.
So, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
This is Shane Black. Is that right?
I think it's Shane Black. Yeah,
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. I've never seen it. Black comedy for the most part, I'm not really that interested in.
If you liked The Nice Guys,
and I
think you would enjoy this.
Yeah.
I think you'd see a lot of like similar tone in that, because it's like The Nice Guys is black comedy, but it's also, you know, like a good kind of whodunit kind of thing.
A little bit of a period piece.
Yeah, and so there's a good mixture of that kind of stuff in here, and you get to see good character performances from these guys.
For sure.
So I recommend it.
This
I haven't
was this
seen it.
Late 90s or early 2000s?
It was early 2000s, I think. Maybe even close to like 2005. But it was definitely pre-Iron Man, obviously. And before Robert Downey kind of got his
recovery
wings back. Yeah, so this was definitely the start of it, though. This put him back on the map, I would say.
This and Zodiac probably were the big ones to get him back.
The Descent.
Yeah, this is kind of remarkable. 2 horror movies I enjoy.
Oh, there you go.
Line.
It's almost like the really, really good ones you'd probably like because they're good
funny,
films.
Right?
Yeah.
This one is a good film. You'd love it.
I probably would.
I know you would, because it's like a group of like 8 female rock climbers like exploring this thing.
What are you trying to say, Scott?
I'm just saying you'd be into that, I think.
I'm also into horror.
Yeah, that's
if it's well done.
That's all I mean.
So.
It's 2 types of horror too. The first is like these claustrophobic scenes where things are collapsing around them and it's just terrifying. And then second turns into something else. It's cool. It's cool.
I appreciate that you kept the surprise there for me.
It's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I do that for you.
Another film we could have watched is 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, that's another romance.
Yeah, well, they go out saying it's an anti-romance, I think.
Yeah, but
the trailer was always like, this is not a romance film.
It's a relationship film.
It is. It is.
I haven't watched it in a while. I want to.
I remember there was a lot of debate at the time because some people watched it and sided only with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, and some people sided more with the Zooey Deschanel character. And depending on where your chips fell, probably, and where your life was at that moment, would be where you
might
fell.
relate with someone else. Yeah.
So, like, I remember siding with her character, not just because I like Zoe, because I like them both equally, but because I thought she was very upfront in her requirements for a relationship.
Yeah.
And that he kind of pushed it the other way. But I remember a lot of people having interesting, just like little mini debates on it. Never angry or anything. Just
I'm going to revisit it again soon. It's been a while.
I'd be interested to see how it holds up.
It's also a very unique movie. Like there's that musical scene and stuff.
Yeah. It's fun. After that, we had The Sixth Sense.
Yeah, the last shot at Midnight.
Yeah.
We've hit that Midnight.
Look, you guys know we love Midnight. Even as bad stuff, we'll give a shot. And if we hate it, we hate it, but we still love him. Can't explain it.
His highs are very high and his lows are very low. You know?
And I think for us,
Sixth Sense is great.
The big thing is that, like, we say it all the time. When you're watching a Shyamalan film, you know you're watching a Shyamalan film. Yeah. And say what you will, that's something to appreciate.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I love The Sixth Sense. I saw that one in theaters. Yeah. I figured out the plot like right away, but I still had a blast watching it.
I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I really need to revisit it.
Nice. Yeah, you should revisit it.
It's
knowing that you know everything, revisiting it, it'll be even fun.
It's like
even
game
more
changer.
fun. Yeah. And especially because it's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
Unbreakable's my need to revisit one.
Yeah, I only saw it for the first time, like right before Split came out, actually. Which is funny. But,
that is funny.
Yeah.
And last but not least, which was kind of a one we for some reason overlooked, and then had some quick debates on it, like at the last second, just because it's an interesting one to talk about. My Cousin Vinny.
The reason we probably overlooked it is because I usually do the first pass at the list, and I don't know much significance of My Cousin Vinny. So.
It's a great comedy film. Yeah. Taylor pointed out that a lot of law schools actually use it because the court scenes are more accurate than most court films.
Okay.
So it's a good courtroom comedy, which is like a rare thing.
Yeah, that is a kind of a duality.
But the way they use, because it's a fish out of water story, it's a courtroom drama comedy. Barely drama, but mostly comedy. But there is that angle there of like it's like a city guy who gets stuck in the South because his cousins or one of his cousins and his friends are accused of murder, and so I believe,
is that Joe Pesci?
Joe Pesci's the lawyer.
Okay.
So I believe he has to go down there, and there's some twists and turns in there, but he basically has to defend these guys who already are facing a hostile like Mayberry type of town when they're very obviously like Italian New Yorkers. And so it's just a fun, like, fish out of water story. It's a fun, like legal story.
Yeah.
And then I believe Marissa Tomei won an Academy Award for this one, and she's really good in this movie.
Supporting actress.
Yeah.
I remember reading about it. Like it was it was kind of like a controversial win.
Yeah. A lot of people at the time swore that they misread the envelope and just stuck with it. But then obviously the Academy doesn't.
We've seen when that actually happens.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think it's a good, memorable performance, so I get completely why
I got the votes.
Yeah, why I got a vote. So, It's also going back to my old Nicole Kidman story of Batman Forever, where you kind of realize what attraction is. This was one of those moments for me too.
There you go.
So,
what year did this come out?
Like probably like 93, but I didn't see it till a little bit later.
Yeah.
92. Yeah. So it was a 92 film. I caught it a couple years later on cable or something. It was just like, wow.
Wow.
But it's a really good film too. So
yeah. I'll check it out.
I definitely recommend
it.
I'll
put it on my list.
Yeah.
A good little line there. They're all getting good.
Yeah, dude. We're in the good zone.
They're getting so good that I think we're going to have a hard time picking next week's film.
What do you think we should do?
I think we should turn to those guys.
Those guys?
Yeah.
Our listeners?
Yeah.
Huh. How are we going to do this?
With a poll.
An internet poll.
Probably on Facebook and probably on the website.
Yeah, we'll do like
Instagram,
Twitter,
maybe
Facebook.
you can do those.
Yeah,
things.
yeah. So
we got a few choices though.
Yeah. We'll set this up.
Yeah.
So listeners, keep an eye out.
Keep your eyes and ears peeled.
And we'll get it going.
Yeah. Max, where can the good people find us?
You can find me and Scott working the sales floor at Smart Tech. Yeah. Or you can find us at thecriticalbreakdown.com. We got a new site. We got some fresh content coming out. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over the place.
Yep.
You can find us on your favorite podcatcher. And if we're not on there, you should add us or suggest us.
We're also on your least favorite podcatcher.
Yeah, iTunes. No, I'm just kidding. But please listen to us and give us iTunes ratings and reviews. Still.
If you're listening to us, listen to us.
Listen to us even more. Because we're cool guys. But at least I am. You can find me watching Boner Jams 03 after episodes of Everyone Loves Raymond.
Good year for Boner Jams.
Or you can find me on Twitter at Max Rivera Film. I usually just tweet about movies and stupid stuff like that. Probably D&D and movies. That's all I talk about on there.
There he is. You can find me organizing my action figure collection, all in the box, of course. Or you can find me at breakdown_Scott on Instagram. I post a picture of my dog about once every 3 weeks. So you wanna be following because you don't want to miss that.
It's a cute dog, so I suggest it.
Yeah. But send us an email, criticalbreakdownpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Just let us know. How did you lose your virginity? Let us know in an email. Our art, our fresh new art, is done by Josh Rivera.
And our music is done by Jason Brown.
It's the same old, but it's the same old good.
And our podcast dogging is done by Walter.
He's good at it.
He is really good at it.
Yeah. And we're the Podcast Boys.
We'll see you next time.